Guys, have 2023 first round picks become a buy? Obviously, the hype was out of control. That may be in large part due to us and others. And then market is soured as it tends to this time of year. But have they become a buy now? Should we be acquiring them again?
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes. Anytime the market overcorrects, you probably should start buying on something or selling. If it's like in the case of like a Chris Olave, say you were getting just, I don't know, multiple firsts for Chris Olave, then it's time to move on from him. But yeah, the market's overcorrected. Everyone's doing the funnest thing that they love to do at this time of year, going, I never really thought this class was that good anyway. I always thought this class was a little weak. So I'm just going to get rid of these picks. And then you have people like me, smart people, we'll describe myself as smart, that are like, all right, well, then I'll buy them. If you want to sell them, that's cool. Give me a bunch of them, and I'm going to control as much of the draft as I want to, because what's going to happen is you're going to get FOMO when the draft comes. All these players are going to get landing spots, good combines. All of a sudden, you're going to be like, I really like Zay Flowers. I wish I had the 108. And I'll be like, you could have the 108. You can have the 108 back. Just give me a 24 first and a second. That's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that we have to get to the point where have they become a buy again? Because you look back and you go, well, they really weren't ever sells. It's just they didn't live up to exactly what we thought they might be 9 months ago. And I had this discussion, spirited discussion, I will say, on Twitter about this. And some people called me out, and rightfully so. Oh, man, you pumped up those 23 firsts to the moon last summer. Give up everything you can to get them. Remember my famous Patreon list? There are only 24 players in Dynasty I would not trade for a single first. And people are like, wow, only 24? I mean, think about that. That's not that many. And that includes quarterbacks. So it was like, man, there's just not a lot of players that were worth a first. Now, I'll say this. I don't think the class got worse. In fact, if you look at the draft capital and you assume what's going to happen at running back is what we've talked about should happen all offseason. A bunch of guys get drafted in viable dynasty range, whatever that might be. That could be mid-round 3, early round 4, even early round 5, late round 4. Like, we know a running back drafted there is probably drafted for a specific role. They might not be that good, but they at least are probably fighting for a job. And we know the running back landscape now. There's a lot of running backs. As long as you can get starts, that has value in dynasty leagues, especially if you have more people now playing the hero RB, the zero RB. Give me any running back that's on a depth chart. I might be able to use them in a spot start. I think where this class went wrong and where it's starting to correct itself again was this isn't a class where I go, okay, if I have 3 top 8 picks, I'm rebuilding my team. It's not like 2021. 2021, if you took Trevor Lawrence, Jamar Chase, Rashad Bateman, even if he was your whiff in the draft, you're like, okay, at least I got a usable player at 201. But man, if you took Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith instead, I mean, you could have maybe rebuilt your team to where you are now like riding those players to the playoffs. Not saying that can't happen this year, but we don't have that same feeling on the market that this class is worth that. You don't have people clamoring going, man, let me give up my proven players to go get that 108, 109. Yeah. But exactly. Whoever whispered they will. I don't know if that was Shane, but it sounds like a Shane comment. You start looking at some of the stuff that people are talking about with Josh Downs and Zay Flowers and Jalen Hyatt, and then the pure madness of what receivers are worth on the open market. We may end up with a class where 4 quarterbacks go in the top 15. That's being conservative. Yeah. 6 receivers go in the top 40. That could be being conservative. Easy. You could have 5 in the first round. All of a sudden, the player you might not like, Zay Flowers, because you don't like his profile because he's a 4-year college player, he's now a first-round receiver. So when you attach that to the fact he's a first-round receiver, your late first just got even more valuable. That's not even counting Michael Mayer. That's not even counting Luke Musgrave, Dalton Kincaid. 3 tight ends could go in the top 40.
Dalton Kincaid was in the first round of, God damn it, someone important. Was it Ryan's most recent mock?
One of them had him as the 9th overall player.
Yeah.
So the point is there's tight end options, which we don't even really talk about those that much, but they're there. And then we have the running backs where, okay, maybe it isn't this high-end running back class like 2020 where there's 5 or 6 drafted in the first 2 rounds, But who cares? Do we even care about that anymore in Dynasty? We don't value a guy that goes in the mid-second much more than a guy goes in the late third. Really, we're overcorrecting. What is his role? How many touches is he getting? What offense is he on? So I think we're setting up for this class where, sure, you may not rebuild your team, but if you're one of those teams that got 4 late firsts and 2 mid-seconds, you're going to end up with a lot of good profiles. Do they become great Dynasty players? I don't know. We need the combine. We need pro days to take names and attach them to be more desirable assets. But I think if you're sitting on picks, they're a buy for that reason. Because it's like, dude, even if I have the 112, I'm probably getting a first round receiver. Or I'm getting a running back that's an early third round pick and they have a really good landing spot. Or I'm getting Will Levis, who nobody likes, but he's a first round quarterback. He goes in the top 10. So I just think it's deep. It's deep with profiles. What we need is we need people to go. Josh Downs, I have to have him. Michael Mayer, I have to have him. When that demand happens, that's when you are able to sell the picks for stuff that's currently on the market.
And I started this comment specifically. Let's hope I can find it, right? 22 overperformed, right? Just think about how much we started buying into that class once the draft hit. And we went, oh, wait a minute. The NFL really likes these wide receivers. Apparently they like them a lot more than we did. And, towards the end of the drafting season, I know I started buying into the 22 class, but the 23 class, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be earlier. Now, will they overperform like the 22 class? I don't know. But I know that the want is probably going to be there.
Yep. Okay, let me put this one up. Shane, do you mind hiding that one? Okay, so if I put this one up here, what picks in the first round are you actively trying to move? What pick or pick ranges do you find yourself holding? So hopefully people are enjoying our series on the first round picks. We just dropped 104, 105 is coming this week. Let's call it Thursday or Friday. What do you think, guys? What picks? Let's start with this. What picks are you actively trying to move for, let's say, a 24 pick?
Straight up or package?
So 108 is that when you're starting to try to kick back to 24 and get something on top, hopefully?
Well, a little sneak preview because we haven't released the 105 video, but we did already talk about the 105 pick. But that seems to be kind of the breaking point. We agreed where if you're at the 105, maybe the 106, you feel confident where there's going to be multiple types of assets available. So if you need a quarterback and you're sitting at 106, you're sweating a little bit. But if you're willing to be a little flexible on what you get, you're probably not getting your QB2, but you might get your QB3. You might have to trade up a spot to the 105. So that could be the breaking point. If you don't care what you get and you're looking for, I want best player available and I'm willing to take a quarterback that falls, a receiver that falls, or whoever the RB2/RB3 is, these are the sweet spots, the 105, the 106. I think it's when you get to the 107, 108, 109, where you start saying, okay, as long as I'm willing to fade the player everybody else prefers, I'm able to take 2 shots on similar profile players, similar draft capital players, but that the people don't love. So I think it's more of like, if you're sitting at the 106, 107, 108, you feel like you could get stuck picking in a big group of players, first round profiles, really good profiles. But man, I'd love for someone to come to me and go, hey, I'll give you that 109 and 111 for that 106. And it just feels like you're getting 2 bites at the apple instead of just getting 1 shot.
I like apples. Apples are good. But right now, and it's fluid, I'm thinking 109 is about when I'd start kicking back for a 24 first. Obviously in the 12 team is what we're talking about, regular old standard 12 team. And by standard, I don't mean standard scoring because that's just weird. Considering that there's going to be 4 quarterbacks drafted in the first round of the NFL draft, like we just mentioned, 5 wide receivers, possibly 2 running backs. I'm feeling pretty comfortable at least through the 109.
So what about in a 1 QB league? What's your cutoff in that format?
Probably 104, 105. Like if you're sitting at the 105, you're probably like that's the very end of what at least you think the market might project as the tier. So do you really feel comfortable in a 1 QB, Shane, moving the 104 for the 108 and the 110?
In a 1 QB? No.
1 QB. See, but in Superflex, you'd go, oh yeah, I'd probably do that.
Smash and grab. Yeah, again, I'm Captain Optimistic tonight. Apparently, I don't know what the hell's going on, but even in a 1 QB, I'm thinking 106 before I'm like, all right, I'm flipping this to next year, and it could be lower than that if I'm on the clock and we see if there's a guy there I like, a gentleman I like.
Does that change at all, though, knowing that next year's, at least the early reports on next year's class are that it's a quarterback heavy class?
No,
In 1 QB, does it make you shy away from taking on clearly the pick that's like, man, Clay's been in the playoffs 4 straight years. His first might not be 112, but it certainly is not going to be 101.
Well, I mean, I'm always going to look at the team, right, and go, well, what are the chances? What do we think it's going to be? Like, and there's certain teams we can look at. I made a trade in a league this week where I got the dudes 24 first, and everyone immediately jumped into chat and was like, wow, that's excellent. You got the 101 for next year. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not stupid at this. I mean, sometimes I'm impetuous, but, I'm not generally stupid. So in a case like that, yeah. But if it's a case like yours, in say Dynasty Trades and whichever one you just made the title game in, I'm probably not going to go, let me get that pick from Scott for some rando first this year. Like, I don't want his random first for next year because he's probably going to be not worth much.
So what about this one here? If you have multiple 24 firsts, but no 23 firsts, would you take a projected late 24 first and try to get into the 23 first round right now? What's the latest 23 pick you'd be comfortable acquiring with a 24?
Yeah, I think if you have multiple 24s and you want to get into this class, you're going to probably have to be really savvy with where you target that pick. Because if you wait too long, then all of a sudden people start attaching the specific profiles to those picks. And they're like, yeah, you're going to get to the point probably where it's, man, this class goes 11, 12, 13 deep. I'm not trading the 108 for a future first. No way. If I'm trading the 108, I need a future first and a player, future first and a second, back to kind of what the old school price would be. So I think you probably take the gamble now. If you think it's going to be a late 24 first, if you have multiples and you can pick the worst one and you can just go try, let's say a team has the 106, the 108 and the 110. Don't even try for the 106. It feels like as soon as you send that, and then they reject it, it kind of feels like, man, they might be onto what you're trying to do. Shoot for that 108 first. Maybe they counter with the 110, but you'd even almost say the 110 wouldn't be terrible if you had a really specific need for a team.
Yeah. Shane, any thoughts on that?
I stopped listening about halfway through, so I'll just go back to what did I say before, right? Like I'm willing to give
repeat something you already said.
I'm willing to go to the 109, right, and then start sending. For next year. So then the opposite, like, can I get to the 109 or better? Will I? Because I know the 24 class is supposed to be very good. Every class is supposed to be very good, right? I'd be willing if I could get up to like the 104 to give up 224 first. And part of that is just because, well, I hate waiting and I want to kick a year off this rebuild or when this asset's going to be worth something, right? Again, I'll look at the 24 picks and try to determine which are going to be the worst of them so that I can move them. I think I made a point. Yeah, that was a good point.
Dude, you killed it.
Yeah, crushed it.
What about you, Clay? What's your line?
My line is kind of like 107 right now. 107.
Okay.
We'll wait a minute.
Comfort spot.
And Shane will send Clay a trade where he gets his 24 first, and Shane sends the.
Please do. I've only made one trade today. Please send me some.
I keep trying to make trades with Clay. We've talked about this before. Clay is a jerk off. He doesn't counter. He doesn't give me any feedback whatsoever. It's like he's listened to some of our podcasts. He might have been doing a show with us for 2 years. He gives me nothing back, nothing.
Yeah, it's because I learned from Scott and from you.
Can't read them.
If you just cold reject, you don't give any data. I just don't like the person.
That just means you're a cold fish. That's all that means to me. And then I got to move on and try for other fish.
If you just engage with Shane enough, he'll literally spill like his entire plan to you, like just by his offers.
Yeah.
But that's his way, Shane. He just rejects and just gives you the stoic face every time.
Yeah,
Sorry, can't do it.
So this right here is a missed super chat from last stream. Yeah, I think it came up too early. He was too generous too early, and it never populated over here on StreamYard. So let's handle it right now. Thank you again. So 12 team half PPR super flex start 10 Quarterbacks are Herbert, Watson, Mac Jones, Baker, Sam Howell. Running backs, Dobbins, Dillon. And wide receivers, we're looking at Garrett Wilson, Olave, Ayuk, Pickens, Juju, Bateman, and 2 others.
Nico Collins and
Nico Collins and
Demetrius Bell.
David Bell.
Oh, I was thinking Demetrius.
Did we really list David Bell as an asset?
We did. Tight ends are Pitts and Gesicki. 23 picks are the 102, 107, 201, 202, 302. And the question is, take value in parentheses quarterback at 102. We're trying to make a big move for Bijan. What moves to contend this year and hedge for long-term dominance?
Can I go back to the first year? First of all, don't ever send me a list of assets and include Collins. I don't even remember which Collins it is. Nico Collins and Demetrius Bell. Stop it.
And he's good. Nico Collins is good.
Stop it. Well, if it's a start 15, I'm fine with Nico.
Start 10.
Start 11.
David Bell and Nico Collins, they are not creative.
David Bell is not a start 30. Maybe in the XFL leagues that we're going to join. Anywho, I mean, your quarterbacks are obviously stacked. I would love to take a couple of these receivers. Here's my favorite thing. I'm taking Pickens, Ayuk, and getting a real good wide receiver. I'd give.
How about giving Pickens and the 102 for the 101?
I would do that if I can't imagine someone would accept it. If they would, no, I mean, look, you try it, and if they accept it, you laugh at them privately, not in front of them.
Yeah, I think this is one of those teams where it is ready for Bijan if you want it to be. Just depends what the price is. I mean, you got Pitts, you got the quarterbacks. You got the best quarterback 3 in the league. So, I mean, I absolutely love your quarterback situation. Running backs, I mean, listen, you got the 101 or to 201, the 202, and the 302. Those are probably going to be 3 running backs in this class, which is good. That's going to add 3 options. I don't know what the rest of his bench looks like, but, if you formulate it enough where you have enough running back bodies, maybe you end up just kind of feeling out the price on Bijan. If not, take Jahmyr Gibbs or trade back. I trade it for
102 and go get Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, my dude, Breece Hall, my son. I love Breece like my own son, more than my son, probably. Well,
you have 2 sons.
Oh yeah. Well, one of them is probably not mine. But no, I love Breece Hall. Go trade for Breece Hall. Go see if you can get Jonathan Taylor. Before I'm spending that 102 on Gibbs, I'll take that 102 and the 201 and see if I can't get Bijan, if I can go get Taylor. Yeah. Saquon, Breece, maybe even Kenny Walker. I don't know.
Yeah, this team is ready for Bijan. Make a move. Go try to get him. Keep us posted. Okay, let's address our crowd. We got 362 people in here. Thanks so much for joining. It's our Tuesday crew. Best night of the week. Always see some awesome comments here. Let's get right to it, guys. We're going to talk a lot about 2023 picks tonight, of course, like we have been for the last 2 years, whenever we started the show. But let's hop into one of these super chats from early on. Anthony West, thank you very much, sir. 102, 104, 207, 224 first, or Burrow and Watson. It's a 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. You'd still have the 107, 108, 110 to 12. Just let me finish the question. All right, you guy. 224 first, Breece, Olave, London.
So I'm going to think long and hard. Yeah, get the quarterbacks. Go get the quarterbacks. Unless you already got like Pat Mahomes and Jalen Hurts or some other variation of that combo. Dude, yeah, go get those quarterbacks. I don't give a shit about that 207. I love that the 207's in there. Like, that's the tipping point, though.
Yeah, it's like he sends the $5 super chat to talk about somebody actually traded him 2 like top 8 quarterbacks in one trade. It's like, man, I had to pay that 102, the 104, 2 first. But what I still have is 5 more 23 firsts, 2 more 24 firsts.
Like, I don't even care if that you had no other firsts. You know what I mean?
Like, the fact that he did. And he also has Breece, Olave, London, and all those picks, and now they just traded them 2 elite quarterbacks. Like you're just handing this guy the championship almost.
Dude, I hope this is, and we've said this before, I hope this is a high buy-in league, and if it's not, just, mention to them.
Yeah,
like,
see if they
hey.
want to bump up the buy-in. Yeah, well, it may not be done the way the question was framed. It may not be done, but yes, Anthony, we are fully on board with you getting those 2 quarterbacks.
All right, well, real quick, I see Anthony messaged 2 different deals, LOL. I don't know how we break this down into 2 deals.
As long as the net is this.
Yeah. If the net and the gross and your outgoing expenses are this, it's tax season. Then yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Diversify your stocks and bonds.
Yeah, you're getting into bond age, aren't you?
I don't appreciate that.
All right, let's keep going here. Professor Charlie, thank you very much for the super chat, sir. His hashtag for his super chat is hammer hunting. Okay, so part 1, start 9, 12 team, 12 bench, super flex. Quarterbacks are Mahomes, Watson, Lance, Winston, Love. Wide receivers are Wilson, Olave, Pickens, and London. Running backs, Brees Hall, AJ Dillon, and Algier, plus 9 RB3s. Tight ends, Fire and Ertz. Picks, 101, 102, 202, 302. And then he has all of his 24 and 25 picks. Part 2 of 3 is he can get Derrick Henry for a 24 first. The guy also has Waddle, and he's thinking about 102 London, 24 second for Henry, Waddle, and a 24 first. Let's see. What else can I buy with, or can I grab a 23 first to buy talent or sell to get more picks? I know I'm good, but I want to ensure long-term dominance, and picks are cheap now versus later. So let's go back here. I guess part 2, he can get Henry for a 24 first. Would you give a 24 first for Derrick Henry?
Yes.
Start 9, 1 QB. Yeah,
Yep.
Go for it. Yep.
So it's a super flex. 12 team
Gotcha.
super flex,
Yeah.
start 9.
Yes.
Still good with
Still
it?
doing it.
Still okay with it. Yeah.
Okay. The guy also has Waddle. Charlie's thinking about 102 and plus London plus a 24 second for Henry, Waddle, and a 24 first.
Now, I did tell Charlie this earlier. We were in the what do you call that? The DMs. He slid in them, and he slides in them a lot. We're always talking back and forth. That's my dude. Anywho, I passed on this other deal. I don't want to give up the 102 London and a second for Henry, Waddle, and a 24 first. London and Waddle are the same dude. I'm not giving up a 102 for a 24 first. The Henry part of the deal is fine.
Yeah, it's also looking at the second deal. Like the receivers, you can just take them out. So it's really the other 2 pieces. Yeah. So not that I don't want to trade for Henry, but I don't want to do it trading away the 102. Now, I guess, the 24 first, is it one of those teams where you're like, all right, I want to flex against this team. Maybe they are not going to be good at all. And that ends up being a high end pick next year. So I essentially bought Henry for a second, and it was I traded the 102 this year for the 103 next year. If you have a strong feeling it's that, I'd be okay accepting it. I would also argue that Waddle on the market still does have higher value than Drake London, even though here we probably say we don't really care. But the second can almost be absorbed by the fact that you're swapping out receivers. One has a higher, quote unquote ADP or trade value. So I would pass on this deal too, but I'd probably just keep it clean. Trade for the Henry for 1 pick. 1 for 1.
And then taking a peek back at this, anything he can do with his picks? He was wondering what he could do to buy talent or sell a player to get more picks.
We got the 101, so we're just taking Bijan. We got the 102 and 202, so we're going to see if we can get AJ Brown. What would it take to get Jefferson in this? Although it's 12.
Get Kelsey on this team to pair with Mahomes.
Yeah. I mean, you could do whatever you want. You got the 101 and the 102. I'm offering the 101 for Jefferson and Chase straight up. I don't expect it to get accepted, but I want to see what they do coming back.
So at a start 9 or a start 10, what I kind of like to do is reach that kind of like sweet spot in terms of the number of assets you feel confident about, get your roster construction in line, and then kind of kick all your future capital to the future. So basically kind of like NFL teams do, they can roll cap space over to the next year when they don't need it. There's limitations to it, but it's kind of the same way with picks. Like you don't want to be a team that's on cruise control and then you just blow 80, 90% of your capital this year. You know, like save some in the bank. He's already got a pretty stacked team. Like he's in the playoffs just with the team that he has and adding Bijan. So don't get cute. You know, don't try to thread the needle and be perfect and then go, yeah, I don't have a lot of leverage in 24 and 25. Now I have to start trading pieces away. So roll over whatever you can. It's like vacation days at your job, you know. Don't use them all just to use them. If you can roll over 10 of them, then the next year you get an extra 2 weeks of vacation. Do it.
I just wanted to hide. I wanted to just show this comment, right? Dynasty Berry's chiming in while we're talking about this. And I will tell you this. It is terrible process to buy a 30-year-old running back with a future first-round pick. With the caveat, you have no idea what's going to happen to your team this year. A lot of things could go wrong. Yes, you could wait till next year to buy him. I've given up on considering Derrick Henry a human. And I just assume nothing is ever going to happen to him. And that he's going to continue to be a top 5 running back in Dynasty and production-wise until he decides he doesn't want to run people over anymore.
Yep. Let's throw this on. I saw Shane started this. Sean is literally on the clock. I wonder if he's still on the clock right now. This is like 10 minutes ago. 12 team Superflex start 10, 109 Chubb, Kenny Pickett. Take the first and figure out the rest later. What are you taking out of those 3? We obviously don't know what he's taken before this, but in a vacuum, what are you taking?
I would do what he's suggesting. Take the
109?
pick. Yeah. It's definitely not the last option. I'll just say that.
Oh, no, it is not Kenny Pickett. I mean, for that, just wait until 3 rounds later and take Mac Jones.
Shots fired. Shots fired. All right, good stuff. Let us know, Sean, if we helped you out there. I was wondering if he was waiting on the clock. Look at this.
Hopefully, it wasn't a short clock and he timed out.
Yeah, right.
They got Kenny Pickett
and unsubscribed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put this up from Dan. Thank you for the super chat, Dan. 1 QB start 9 PPR. Trade the 23 102 25 first Garrett Wilson for Christian McCaffrey, T Higgins, and the 210. He has Burrow, JT, Kamara, James Cook, Devontae, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Ingram. So he's got some wide receivers, but
nah, this feels a little heavy for my taste, and I'm all about buying C-Mac, but
I don't want to give away the 102 and
102
Garrett Wilson in one trade.
Garrett Wilson and then another first, just for shits and giggles, even if that first is 2 years down the road.
I mean, 102 arguably more valuable than Christian McCaffrey, or at least comparable in a 1 QB. Garrett Wilson, more valuable than T Higgins. Doesn't mean he's going to be better than T Higgins, but more valuable. And then you're trading your 25 first for the 210 in a 1 QB start 9. Like, I'd rather just hold the first. Like, that's the format where you go, man, I'm not kicking a future first in for a mid-second. You know, like you need the player now, but you know you're not getting a player nearly as good as what a first can value in the future.
Yep. Thank you for that super chat, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. I had an inbox trade in the hopper too. Let's take care of this and let's go back to a 23 pick question. Inbox offer 12 team 1 QB PPR start 9. Give Drake London, Cole Kmet, a projected early 24 first. Get Jamar Chase. I have Justin Herbert, Jefferson, London, Wilson, Burks, Brees, Pitts, the 101, 103, 106, 7, and 424 firsts.
Yeah, this is just obnoxious. This is one of those deals you make because you can. You're like, come at me. What are you going to do? Yeah,
just swing it.
London in the 24 first. I'm just meh. Here, give me Chase. Yeah, dude, make this right now. And I love London, but bro, no, do it.
It's like Shane's hits the strip club and realizes he got 5s instead of 1s, and he's just like, who cares? He just starts throwing them out. It doesn't even matter. Give me that Jamar Chase.
Yeah. The projected early 24 first. I know that could be a little, that could make it pucker up down there, but you've got 4 of them. So
yeah, that's all right.
Get you Jamar Chase. You're getting the wide receiver 1 or 2 in Dynasty.
I mean, it's a start 9. He's locked in only 7 of the top 15 assets with 7 firsts. That's the trade where your league needs to look at your team and go, what are we doing? Why are we giving this guy Jamar Chase?
honestly, what the rest of the league should do, looking at his assets, is just go, yeah, we're going to fold. This isn't working out for any of us.
Yeah,
just
crazy.
gonna nuke it.
Yeah.
Let me actually, before we move to a 23 question, I wanted to pull this up. During the last live stream, you stressed the importance of having one of the elite QBs in a 1 QB league. If you had Lamar, would you be trying to package him for Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, or Burrow? It's a 6 point per passing touchdown. Would you try to move him to Mahomes or Burrow?
So I don't know if this person DM'd me or if I responded on Twitter. Maybe it was on Discord. I don't know. I got the same exact message somewhere else. Maybe it was on Facebook or MySpace. But you already have one of the elite QBs. You have Lamar Jackson. Now, if the cost is minimal to move up, then fine. But I'm not throwing in a first on top of Lamar Jackson to move up to Allen Hurts, especially not Burrow. He's not even in that conversation for me. The only one I would think about it would be Hurts and Mahomes and Allen. Probably in that Hurts, Mahomes, then Allen, that order.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in 1 QB, even 6 point per passing touchdown, just take the advantage that you already have. Don't get cute. Like Shane said, if you can do it cheaply, fine. The key with the 1 QB is that you're getting the positional advantage, but you're not extorting any scarcity except for from the other couple teams that potentially can match you. All you're doing is basically overpaying to get a different name. You're paying for safety, basically. And you're giving assets to the other teams that are getting one of them back. Even if they trade you Burrow and you give them Lamar, it's a coin flip, season to season, who's going to outscore who. So yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I can't find the comment, but I wanted to bring it up anyway. It was a fill in the blank kind of thing. Christian Watson is equal to blank 23 first. Would you give the 111 for Christian Watson right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. God damn it! I'm going to lean on the portfolio. Yeah, because I'm not overexposed to him. So 111 is fair. It's fair.
It's probably 108 to 110 range where you're going to get a receiver. I think the problem is the person with Christian Watson is going to go, man, I want the 104, 105, 106.
Well, then they're smoking crack cocaine, and you don't want to deal with them in any basis, but especially fantasy football dealings.
Right, but just picture this, because we talked about this at the beginning of the show. How many people right now with the 111 or 112 are easily going and buying a hand-picked current player that they want? And now, if it's one that everyone doesn't want, then sure, you can do it. But if you're trying to go get, who are the guys we always talk about selling? Pickens, J-Mo, Christian Watson. Like, you're not just going with the 112 and getting one of those guys from most people. Most people are going, no, I've seen it from those guys. I don't want to be risked having to draft Jalen Hyatt. Why would I draft Jalen Hyatt when I have Christian Watson? You need to give me a plus. So those are hard deals to make right now.
Yeah, so I actually traded Christian Watson this evening. Let's see what you guys think about this one. It's a 12-team super flex, start 10, tight end premium. I've got the 104 and the 106 in that league. I sold Christian Watson in the 106 for Drake London and a 24 second.
Yeah, slam dunk, slam on it. Yeah,
good with it.
Yeah, I love it.
I think if I didn't have that 104, I'm not sure if I would have been, actively trying to make that trade just yet. But I feel like still having the 104, I was down to make that move. What do you think, Scott? Go with it?
Yeah, and you know what? I can also see it from the other side's perspective. Yeah. Why would they want the 106? They're probably looking at, they don't want two receivers out of the deal, right? They're willing to pivot off of the receiver that has more value for the shot at getting either a running back or a quarterback. I'm guessing quarterback they might need. So they like having that pick there, that at least they're going to have some options. So I can see the appeal on the other side too, if you're okay betting against London and for Watson.
So here's one from the hopper. I own the 102 and the 112. Do you feel that other owners treat you differently in trades when you own multiple draft picks?
I don't think the 102 and the 112, but I have felt it when you have the 103, the 104, the 106, the 108, the 112. If you have like 4 firsts and they're scattered, what's your natural? Let's make it easier to track for Shane because he's sitting here trying to.
No. So I'm thinking there's one league in particular that I'm in, right? I have the 109 through the 115. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well, all those are trash. So that
well,
doesn't
you're
count.
trash. But the point is if you want the 115 from me, you're going to have to pay the 109 price because I control that whole block. So if you're not going to treat me different, well, then I'm just going to make the picks.
Well, if I have the 101 through the 112 and you want the 101, then, or you want the 112, you're paying the 101 price.
Well, that's fair. You control the whole draft.
But the original point was, let's say you have the 3, the 5, the 8, and the 10. Your first inclination is to go, what can I get for the 10?
Mm-hmm.
And the first inclination of the team you're trying to trade with is, can I get the 5? You know what I mean? It's not like, sure, I know you want to try to trade the 110, Shane, but you know you're probably not getting a square deal unless they're at least countering with the 108. So I do think there is some bias in terms of if you have 4 or 5 picks to choose from, they're going to examine those closely and scrutinize your offer a little more versus, hey, bro, I got the 109. That's all I have. Take it or leave it. How bad do you want to pick? So I do think that that's a good point with the question. I think you do get discriminated against if you have tons of picks.
I'm gonna file a fair housing complaint. But yeah, it's like when you have I want to say too many, but you have too many wide receivers, and the person in your league's like, well, you have a bunch of wide receivers. Just give me one for this running back. It's equal value. Like, no, I'm not gonna just do that because you want me to.
No. Okay, let's put this up here too. Kind of ties in. Would love to hear about the increased leverage of gaining first rounders and when that leverage diminishes when you accrue too many picks in one draft. I think we've said before, having 6 is plenty. That number seems to come to mind. You don't need to have more than 6 or so because then you kind of affect the market by just, you've got your leverage, but then everybody else just stays put, kind of screws up the market.
Look, if you're active, if you're one of those people, clearly you're active, right? If you have a ton of picks, I'm going to assume you're active. You're not just going to sit on your hands. So if you continue to be active, I don't know if there's an actual number that's too many. Now, I don't want to make all those picks, obviously. I want to use some of those picks to trade for players. I want to use some of those picks to kick the can down the road till next year, etc. But if I could have 12 to 12 picks, I'd be fine with that and figure it out later. Even if I'm trading like the 11 and the 12 for like Jerry Jeudy in a 24-second, something along those lines.
I think it's not just if you're active. It depends on if your league is active. If you have a fluid, active league every year, you never have an issue having too many picks because you'll be able to get some options where you can kick those picks to the future. The way you defeat the team, I mean, we've done some roster reviews for people when it's like, dude, how did you get so many assets? And really the only way to beat a team like that is to essentially freeze them out and cut the head off the snake at some point and go, you know what? You have 9 23 firsts and you have 6 24 firsts. You know what I'm not going to let you do? Handpick some players that you want and then leverage trade me for all the ones you don't want and continue to give me 6+ firsts in every single draft. As a league, you're never going to be able to combat that. That team is always going to dominate the market. More importantly, they're going to control the market. When it's a shitty class, they're still going to control the market. When it's a great class, all they need is 1 or 2 deals where they just rake somebody else over the coals in the right class and you're cooked. So really the way you beat a team that just has too many picks is don't let them kick the can to the future. Make them make the picks. So if it's an active league and you know that's not going to happen and everyone's kind of willing to play ball,
all right, but
there's no such thing.
The thing is, though, is it's like the Stanford experiment, right? Except it's not completely like that at all. Everybody is out for their own best interest. Completely not the Stanford experiment. I'm forgetting the name of the experiment. But basically, even if what's better for the group ends up being better for you, you don't realize that, and you don't have the discipline as a group to follow that path. And you go, well, it might be better as a group if we, I don't want to say collude, but yeah, collude against Scott and not trade him any players that he wants and let him die on the vine. Don't trade him any picks, right? It's easy to say that, but the problem is there's going to be a rogue agent, a rogue actor like me that's like, well, screw you guys. I still want to win at some point. And even if that some point is 2025, I'm going to make a deal with Scott and get it done.
It's not even collusion. It's more of we're all in some leagues where there's 3 or 4 managers that just don't respond. They're not active. They're not active during the times you necessarily want to be haggling with them on some of these trades, because we can agree that some of the best leverage trades, when do they happen? If you're trying to make the best leverage trade possible, it's probably during the times where you're most unsure of the information you're trading away with or you're trading for with, right? AKA right now. So again, it depends on your league. There's some leagues that are super active. Every manager's engaged. Every manager's trying to do something, which is good. But we're in some leagues where 3 or 4 people just don't respond. You have to you have to pull teeth to get them to respond. In those leagues, you can easily freeze a couple of the other teams out before it's like there's just not really anybody to take advantage of anymore. That's the danger. And then they're like, well, sure, I can trade some picks, but largely I'm going to have to make them all. And that's when you start losing value.
A-Town, thank you for the super chat. 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 10. I have the 101, 103, 107, 111, 112. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert. Good there. CMC, ETN, Brees, Higgins, CD, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, DJ Moore, Ridley, Dotson, and Mark Andrews and Pitts. Okay. It's getting kind of braggy here. Let's see this A-Town. Tried using just picks to get more hammers, but the league seems to hate picks. What players would you add to picks to make hammer time happen, or just make the picks because only have trash cans on the bench?
Let me go back to that list of players again. Okay, so if I was going to add players and tip picks, it's going to be Dotson, DJ Moore, and
Ridley.
that's it. Yeah, and then at 101, I'm just going to be like, all right, well, I got to take Bijan here. At 103, all right, you guys are forcing me to take Anthony Richardson. Oh, yeah, I moved them up to 103, Scott. 107, I guess I have to take Jordan Addison here. You guys aren't going to let me trade these picks? No one wants them? All right, well, then I'm just going to keep taking guys. 111, how'd Jack Charbonnet get there? 112, Sean Tucker? Yeah, I'm reaching on him. I don't care what you think.
So if they don't like picks, can you move your 111 or 112 or 24 first?
Probably not if they don't like picks.
But would they like at
They
least
don't like
think-
future picks either.
Yeah, exactly. Would they rather at least have a 23 instead of a 24?
Listen, I'm going to cut to the chase on this one. This team has so many assets. I'm making the 101 and the 103, and then I'm willing to kick all of them to the future, because literally with what you have on the screen plus 2 or 3 players in this class, you have so many assets. Variance is going to determine whether you win or not. It's not because you don't have enough steam to get there. Sure, you could gut your entire team and go, give me the 10 best players in Dynasty and no depth. Would you do that in February? No. That's one of those teams where you go to the terrible managers and you go, hey man, I got this 111. Maybe I throw in a second. Can I get that 24 first? And really, in the back of your mind, you're going, this guy's a shitty Dynasty manager. Like, there's no way he's going to take his team out of the top 4. And
Yep.
Exactly.
Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Funny avatar too. 14 team, 1 QB PPR. I got Lamar and Lawrence, ETN, Jefferson, DK, London, JMO, Pitts, Elijah Moore, Bateman. Wise to trade for the 101. I have the 103.
He doesn't say how many starters, but I assume it's not like 12
Maybe,
or something like that.
10 maybe.
If it's 9 or 10, I'd be fine going for Bijan, because he's already got, he's got 2 elite quarterbacks. He's got an elite tight end. Yeah, I'd be fine doing it with just ETN.
Yeah, what you're asking for is this team good enough for me to add or use the assets to go get Bijan? And yes, it is.
I don't know how we would though necessarily. I have the 103. I mean, 103 and Jameson Williams isn't going to get you 101.
It shouldn't, but people
and then
do
would
stupid
you?
Things.
I mean, you can add Elijah Moore to that too if you wanted to. But would you give DK and the 103 for Bijan?
Yes.
And leave yourself with Jefferson, London. I feel
I'll
like
tell
I
you
want
what,
a little something back if
does 103 and Trevor Lawrence get it done.
Oh.
1 QB, 14 team.
Trade one of your quarterbacks. I mean, that they may not value the quarterback, but if they do and their quarterbacks are streamer types, that might be worth doing it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for that super chat, man. Hopefully that helped you out a bit. Let's move on to the next one. Sorry, we are hammering through here. Zimmy16. Thank you, sir or sirette. 1 of 2, 12 team, super flex, start 10, tiered PPR. So half PPR for running backs, full for wide receivers, 1.5 for tight end. Have Tua and Dak at QB, Dobbins, Khalil Herbert, and Elijah Mitchell at running back. Wide receivers are Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Waddle, Judy, DJ Moore, Burks, and Jacoby. tight ends, Pitts and Hawkinson. It's pretty good looking so far. Do I stay course and use draft to improve QB depth and RB depth? Or do I concentrate on getting into tier 1 at QB? Where does having a solid QB3 supersede getting a hammer at QB? I like that last part of that question.
So obviously we're going to say try to get a hammer at QB, but judging by what he has on his roster, I don't hate taking can I get a third QB? Can I get Kirk Cousins? Can I get Russell Wilson? Someone like that. I'd be fine with that in his quarterback room. Maybe that's not nearly as expensive as paying up to get the third or to get the elite quarterback. Because I'm guessing if he wants an elite quarterback, it's going to look something like Dak, Amon-Ra, a first. You know what I mean? Something like that where it's like, well, I still don't have the perfect build that I want. But man, he's got a lot of skill player assets. I mean, he's got Pitts and Hawkinson and that load of receivers.
Yeah.
And if he can just kind of patchwork together running back, if he can get a third quarterback, I'm actually okay trying to play it this way because we have reached the point where it's really hard to get the elite quarterbacks. And even when they're available, guarantee the person that goes, hey, I'm willing to trade you Jalen Hurts. What do you think they're asking for from the team? You know, it's going to be Amon-Ra, Pitts, Dak. You know, it's going to be a package where you're like, man, feels like I'm giving up like 4 starters, and it just kind of feels like he's built to not need to go pay for the elite quarterback here if it's a lot cheaper just to get another.
I mean, okay, so let me look at these QBs again. Dak and Tua. I'd definitely be fine with tearing up from Tua. And if it took, I don't know, Amon-Ra St. Brown, excuse me, try to speak English here, and Dak to get into the Jalen Hurts tier or even the Lamar Jackson tier and something thrown back since Lamar Jackson's not good at football anymore, apparently, or Kyler Murray, I would do that.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Zimmy. Appreciate it. Let's keep on rolling here. David just wanted to say thanks here. He messaged Scott on Twitter with a trade question. He responded in 10 minutes. Told him I had super chat. Love the show, guys. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. And thank you, Scott, for getting us a super chat there. Nice work. Get Shane a coffee. We have 446 people in here now. This is one of the heavier nights. It's awesome. I'm sure everybody hit the like, Shane. You're in the like police. We've got Ray. We've got your uncle from Facebook who gave the like. If you wouldn't mind, look down, make sure you hit that like. We'd appreciate that.
No, math isn't my strong suit again, but I'm going to say it's less than a fourth. People have liked this, and I don't appreciate that. So hit like, or I'll find out where you live.
Tony, hola. Recent deals with picks. 1 QB, start 8 PPR. 105, 112, and Lockett for Olave, 103, and Danny Dimes.
Oh, nice. Wait,
okay.
No.
No, there's a comma. 103 and Danny Dimes for Josh Allen.
Oh, my bad. Let me start over. 1 QB, start 8 PPR. 105, 112, and Lockett for Olave. Good with that? Start 8, 1 QB? Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
103 and Danny Dimes for Josh Allen all day.
Easy. Yep.
102 and Bateman for London and the 205.
I'm actually less okay with that one just because it feels like you're just moving it to get a player that you feel confident with. If you want to, fine, but I could also see where you go. You know what? I'll let that ride a little bit longer.
Yeah, none of these are egregious. Although I bet everyone in your league probably thinks 1-3 and Dimes for Josh Allen and start 8 1 QB. It is 1 QB, right? Yeah, I'm guessing your league definitely thinks that's egregious. I don't care. Screw your league. The only one that I think on holding back on would be the London one, only because I don't want to put too many assets in. Throw all my assets into just this year. Now, if you have 24 first, obviously that changes thing.
What about this one? Also in Superflex, he gave Dak and the 101 for Lamar.
Oh, fuck you. I mean, no, I love it. Look, I like Lamar, but you probably could have gotten. He says you have to overpay for these leagues.
Yeah, that's what he said. Usually have to overpay to do deals.
But he got Josh Allen and for Danny Dimes and the 103. And the first deal is essentially just giving up a smattering of junk. Not junk, but you get what I mean. It's a start 8. So I mean, he's actually finding people to give him elite players for multitudes of assets, which is the first rule of trying to trade in a shallow league like this. I guess I just look at the 102 and Bateman. Is Drake London ever going to be worth the 101?
I don't know, but Bateman.
No, so it's no, but basically the 102 is like the asset for Drake London. So when is that going to change? So I would just pass on that one, but good job. Sounds like he has a handle on the league values and what it takes to get deals done, obviously.
Yeah, and we're all in leagues like that, where it just, sometimes you got to overpay. That's the market, right? So that market's different than the overall market.
There you go. Thank you for that super chat, Tony. Appreciate it, man. Let's keep on keeping on here. Let's go to this one from Pellet Caddy. 10 team start 11 Superflex. Give mid 23 second. Get Hollywood. Smash, right?
What?
He's asking if that's a smash.
Yep.
Mid 23 second. Get Hollywood. Yep.
Do that now.
Yeah.
And then see what else will give you for
T, CD. Yeah, he's.
And go get more seconds and see what you can get for them from people if that's what they're giving you.
Yeah. Trade more with that person. Trade more with that person. See what else they're giving out.
Yeah, just
giving away.
Definitely, just run that well drive.
Let's move to Michael. Thank you very much, Michael, for the super chat. So I'm going to pop this up first. He says, forgot to mention this is a start 8. Okay. So we'll throw this up here. 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 8. So super shallow. Cup, Olave, Judy, Pittman, Ridley, Ayuk, Dotson. Running backs are Pacheco, Dalvin Cook, Saquon, Etienne, and Breece Hall. Tight end, Waller, Chig, and Gesicki. QB, Josh Allen. I have the 102, 104, 109, 202. Do I make a move for Bijan? What do I pay? He's already got Saquon, Etienne, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Pacheco.
I mean, bro, you're getting to the point where you're running out of how many running backs you can actually start. Like, he can only start, I'm assuming, 4 max. It's 2 flexes and
get Jefferson or Chase on that Dynasty football roster. Get CD.
Yeah, this is that's what I was going to say. Is you're really strong. It feels like a roster review we did the other day. We were like, wow, you're really strong, but it's through the running back position. So I don't know if you want to keep adding running backs to that. When I don't want to say your wide receivers are weak with Cup and Olave, but you could use Cup is 30 years old. I think I would rather try to see if I can get the 102 and the 109, send that over for Jefferson and Chase, see what happens and see what they ask for back. I get you, Michael. They are expensive. Yeah, start 4, Michael says. I get they're expensive, but I think I'd probably lean wide receiver. But at the end of the day, whichever was cheaper, if it's cheaper for me to get Bijan than it is for me to get JJ or for me to get, who's the other one I like? That Chase fella. Maybe I try to get AJ Brown, see what that turns into. Can I get AJ Brown for the 102?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I think I'm good with the. You could add Bijan. I've heard Shane say it before. Man, Barkley, ETN, Bijan, Breece Hall.
And Breece Hall.
Did you will kill someone? Like literally, like there will be a week where like one of your league mates is dead because you've murdered them. And it'll be a beautiful thing.
You break sleeper.
Yeah. And what did we talk about last week? It's a start 8. So I'm looking for those skill players, but I'm also looking at, does he have the quarterback advantage? Yes. Tight end might be a place where you go and see what you can get for one of those picks, because you're essentially streaming 3 tight ends at this point. And so can you get an elite tight end? Because it is going to matter if you're basically just taking replacement value at tight end versus a higher end score. But yeah, nice roster.
Yeah.
A lot of good rosters tonight. A lot of people talking about like flexing on some of these assets they have,
Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay, let's keep rolling here. This is from Ryan. I traded the 23-103 Tua and DK Metcalf for Hurts per Shane's advice. 12 team Superflex tight end premium start 11. What do you think about that? You were nodding, Scott. You approve?
Yeah, because he got off of Tua and basically snuck him into the trade that counted for at least a first in value in this trade. So, I mean, he essentially got Hurts for 4 firsts or less if you're going to give like the 103 credit for like being 2 firsts. And I don't even think you're getting first for Tua at a lot of places. So yeah, I like this trade. Love it.
When me and Ryan were talking about this trade earlier, or yesterday, I don't know, all my days bleed into together. Whenever we were messaging back and forth on this, all I could think of was, would I do this for Mahomes? And without a doubt, I would do it to get Mahomes. And Hurts is at that level for me. So if I would do it for Mahomes, I would definitely do it for Hurts.
Yeah, I'm just going through here. Let's throw this quick one up. Thank you for the super chat, Marvin. Send 224 first and a 24. Okay. Send. Okay. He said, I forgot to add format to my super chat. This is a 10-man PPR Superflex start 9. Send 224 first, 124 second, and 225 seconds. Fair?
I'm gonna go look.
He'll send those to Shane to go find the first part of his super chat. How about that?
We'll refund you, Marvin. Let us know what your Venmo is.
I did see Marvin's $2 super chat come in, but I didn't see a question before it. So
okay,
if it's there, hopefully Shane can find it, but I'm not sure.
He'll bird dog that. This one was $8.59. Shane.
All right, Marvin. Thanks, bro.
All right, let's keep on keeping on here. Tommy, excuse me. Thank you for the super chat. Big potential trade. 12-team 1 QB start 9. I send the 108, 112, 207, 308, 24 second, and George Pickens. I receive Kyle Pitts, DJ Moore, Pittman, and the 108.
Oh my God, yes.
Somehow he sent the 108 and got the 108. I don't know which side that is, but yeah, I would do it without the 108s canceling each other out. I mean, come on.
Well, look, maybe it's a copy league or he's trading in the multiverse. Either way, I would make this deal.
What is that other person thinking? It's a 1 QB start 9, and they want a bunch of late picks.
They like George Pickens. The rest of their roster is super, super, super thin. They have DJ Moore fatigue.
They are sick of DJ Moore and Michael Pittman and Kyle Pitts because he's already a bust. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Let me get out of there now. Oh, I found Marvin's question.
Oh, nice.
Smash it, Tommy. Just do it.
Yeah, just smash that, Tommy. All right. Thank you very much, man. Okay, so you found the other one there, Shane?
Yes, just
okay. Just start it. So is it at the bottom? Okay. Here we go. Okay, so do I read this one first?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll pull this one up. Hey guys, I made a trade. 103 and a 24 third and a 25 fourth for the 106 AJ Dillon, Zonovan, and a 24 second. That manager then traded the 103 for Garrett Wilson. What do you think of it all around?
All right, Marvin.
I would have rather just traded the 103 for Garrett Wilson.
That they snookered you. AJ Dillon in the 106 does not equal the 103, and even thrown in the little late round picks, I could care less about Zonovan Knight, like not even a little bit. 24 seconds, fine, but no, you lost this one, my friend. This is one of those where you're looking to trade back and try to get value. I get the thought process behind it. AJ Dillon's not what I'd particularly call useful.
Yeah, I just look at the last trade and it's like, yeah, he got Garrett Wilson for the 103. I'm like, you should have just offered that to begin with.
Like that, and as soon as I would have seen that come through my mailbox, I would have been like, son of a bitch, why didn't I just try that? Like, I hate everything.
I hate everything. Let me throw this one up here real quick because I was having trouble finding it. It was a super chat. Scouting Central. If you're still on here, you sent a question to @Dynasty Pandemic under your name @Hornets02
on Twitter.
It was on Twitter at the @Dynasty Pandemic handle. I didn't see it unless he. Anyway, I'll keep looking. But if you don't mind, if you're listening to this, email it to dynastytradesand5@gmail.com too, just in case. Thank you, sir. All right, let's keep going here. Heavy Kevy, 12-team Superflex PPR. It's 1.5 for tight end, start 11, best ball, startup trade. Give the 23 102, which is the startup 211, a 24 first, 24 second, 24 third, get the 2023 105, which is the 410 startup, the 107, which is 503, and Kirk Cousins, which is 610, and Dulcich 1103. So gives the 211 a 24 first, second, and third, and gets the 410, 503, 610, 1103.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because it's best ball. It's a startup. He's trading away as many assets as he's getting back. And I'm guessing with the pieces he's getting with the 2 picks and hedging with Cousins and getting Dulcich back, that he feels like it's going to help him roster construction wise by giving up the 102 and getting back the 105 and 107. So I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. He's giving away his future picks, but in terms of assets now, I'm fine with it.
You good with it, Shane?
I agree with Scott.
Okay. Thank you, Heavy Kevy. Appreciate you, man. Let's keep going here. Stephen Colby, thank you for the super chat. What is that avatar right there? Do you recognize that?
That is
Is it like an old movie?
It looks like it's Star Wars, but the dude
No,
looks
it's
like
not.
a
I
heavy
recognize
set.
it, but I can't figure out what it is right off track. I'll think of it though.
Yeah, help us out there, Stephen Colby. Thank you for the super chat. 12 team super flex, start 11, have Dak and Watson, no third QB. Picks are 101, 106, 110, 111, 201. League mates won't trade up for the 101. Should I be trying to move multiple firsts for a third QB or stand pat and pick best player available?
I mean, if what he says is true and he's stuck with the 101, like no one's given up prime value for it, I'm fine taking Bijan. And you either go trade for a third QB and kind of play like we talked about at the beginning with the, if you have the Dak and Tua QB room, right? Like he has Dak and Watson, which is better. But I'm okay with Dak and Watson. Get a third QB, a guy that's just starting, and pick best player available. I wouldn't force it just to get a third QB. Unless it's just a slam dunk deal and getting an elite one. But I'm not taking like my 101 and multiple first to go try to get an elite QB with this build. I don't think you need it.
We have Dak Watson, no third QB picks. We want to trade up to 101. Should I be trying to move multiple first for a third QB? No. I'd be fine moving up for Dak.
Clay reads the questions.
I know, but I have to read them when I wasn't paying attention because I'm trying to get Scouting Central's question found because Clay erased it apparently. But
Shane is
not
working.
for a third QB. I'd prefer to try to tier up from Dak if I can, obviously. But if I can't, I'm not going to pay for a third QB now.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much for that super chat. And we did turn off super chats. And to everyone who has, thank you very much to everyone who hasn't. Apologies when we have to hit all these super chats. It's not just because we need to feed Shane iced coffee. Yeah. We also just don't know how to refund them. We'll do one of the another live stream coming up where we'll do 0 super chats, and I'll just pay Shane and Scott. What do we think about that? Okay, Sean, thank you for yours. 12 team super flex, start 9. 109 and 111 for Elijah Mitchell and the 103. I have the 101, 104, 108 as well. If I can't do that, what's next?
I'm okay doing that in a start 9. Getting the 103 because you basically control the board now. You control the 101, 3 and 4. You also have 108. Elijah Mitchell in a certain build is just a usable body. So I'm fine with it. Start 9, the 109 and 111, I can be left holding the bag.
Yeah, I don't particularly care about Elijah Moore, but I think that's a savvy move getting Elijah Mitchell thrown into that deal for when Christian McCaffrey inevitably injures a lower body extremity next year.
Yeah, it's bound to happen, right?
Yep.
And Elijah Mitchell does the same thing because that's also
he
bound
does,
to happen.
But then if you own Christian McCaffrey, then you're just like, all right, well, hopefully Elijah Mitchell can fill in for those 3 weeks, and then when he's hurt, then I can put Christian McCaffrey because he should be back.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Have you guys made any trades recently? Have you traded away any 23 firsts or acquired any 23 firsts today?
I traded a 23. I traded for the 115. I traded Alec Pierce, but I don't think that particularly counts.
I did the Devontae Smith for the 105 today in the midseason degenerates.
Oh, you gave up Devontae?
Devontae Smith and Brock Purdy for the 105 and Albert Okwuegbunam, and it's 2 PPR. Justification was it's point per carry. So I just devalue the receivers a little bit, and I'm fine just seeing what happens at the 105. So there you go.
No, congratulations.
Thank you. You both are in the league, so I'm apparently
yeah.
you didn't see the trade, but that's
I've
okay.
got a filter on that email.
Apparently, yeah, I have my new email. I'm gonna have to check that out. I would have tried to make a trade immediately just to combat you.
Do you guys still get like a little endorphin rush when a trade is completed with all the trades and all of your leagues? Does it do anything for you anymore?
It's kind of like how sex you have to get more and more like what
Here we go.
More adventurous.
You have to keep going to more and more extremes to actually feel anything, or I don't know, just emotions in general. Like you need the absolute extreme to feel anything, and that's usually what I need with trades now.
Jane hates missionary trades.
Oh Jesus Christ! My mom's watching.
No missionary. Yeah. Diane Manila gave us the love, and that's gonna go away. Okay, Patrick, thank you for the super chat. This is a good time to switch to the super chat while Shane's ahead here. 12 teams start 10. Give the 102 Claypool Tony. Get the 106 201 DJ Moore. QBs are currently Mahomes, Watson, Mack. Love this show. Thank you, Patrick.
So I like what he's trying to do. But I mean, with that quarterback room, I mean, that is almost the sexiest QB room you can get right there. Those 3 players together. So I don't think you need the 102, but I also don't want to just accept this trade and bail somebody out and give them the 102. Because it kind of feels like, can I get a better asset than 201 and DJ Moore? Can I get a 24 first instead? And the 201, maybe something like that. Like I would be willing to do that. I don't care about Claypool and Tony, but they still are, options on the bench that you're just giving away.
I just saw your message here, Shane. I'm
finding this is
that's Scouting Central.
Yeah, I'm finding his. He tweeted it at us.
So Clay, What do you think about that trade? Since Shane's eyes are just like completely glazed past the screen because he's guaranteed he's looking at 4 other screens.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find Scouting Central's question. That's all.
Yeah. No, give the 102 Claypool Tony. Get the 106 201 and DJ Moore. 12 teams start 10. I'm holding the 102 side. I just want a different kind of trade. I'm not rushing to make that trade.
Said it perfectly. That's a trade where it feels like that's always on the table.
Yeah.
So yeah, wouldn't rush into it.
Okay, let's keep going here. Sorry, I have to. It was easier to hide the current comment. There we go. Thank you, Patrick. Nate, thank you as well, sir. 12 team Superflex start 9. I have Kyler, Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, Jared Goff with a 102, 106, 109, 111, 112. Should I take QB at 102 or try to sell the pick or any of my current QBs?
What can you add to Kyler Murray or Kenny Pickett to get a better QB? That's the first thing I'm thinking. I don't want to just sit back and go, I'll draft a QB. So I'm trying to shop around and see what's available. If you're stuck with this, you're stuck with it. You can go separately and try to sell the 102, but I'd try to sell it in a package to go up and get a better quarterback first.
So you're going to try to trade Pickett in the 102. Let's just say Pickett in the 102 for... What are we looking at?
I'd actually try Kyler first because I think Kyler's entering that.
We would do Kyler.
He's entering that territory of he's clearly not top 9. And I think there's question marks about,
That is just patently a lie.
He's not top 9. Name the 9 that are ahead of him.
I'm not. He is top 9.
No, he's not. To Kyler Fields.
Probably.
Okay. Kyler Watson. Kyler Lawrence.
Probably Lawrence.
Kyler Lamar.
Well, that's Lamar.
And then Herbert, Burrow, Hurts, Allen, Mahomes. That's 9. See ya.
God damn it. All right. He's 10.
He's 10. So you wouldn't add the 102 and Kyler to go get Jalen Hurts.
Right now, I would
Get
yes.
Justin Herbert.
Again,
Joe
so
Burrow. I mean, I would do all of those trades.
Any deal that I would do to get Mahomes, I would do to get Hurts and Allen. Those are 1A, B, C.
So what would be the cut? I would do it for Herbert, Burrow, and maybe Lawrence.
Not Herbert.
And that would be it. That's so
you
it'd be
wouldn't
different.
do it for Herbie, huh?
Shane wouldn't apparently. So okay.
Herbert's not in that tier. He's
In
not
a start
that classic
9,
quarterback.
in a start 9, I want the one that has a lot of value, upside, and insulation. But we'll see. We didn't really answer the full question, but I think he gets the point. You want to do something with the 102.
Yeah.
Evan says, weird question. It's not. But what do you all think when you work yourself to a point where every asset on the roster is too bad to be worth anything or too expensive for others to buy with no in between? So you've got a couple studs that you got Jamar Chase. It's going to take a massive package. Nobody wants to give it to you. And then you have a bunch of Sky Moores and stuff like that.
I mean, so you got to kind of hope that. Oh, Scott's talking. Scott, you're on mute.
He's talking to his wife, probably.
I wasn't talking. I was trying to eliminate the background noise. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I feel like he's talking about me as the background noise. That felt personal. Anywho, you can't sell them because they're worthless. Well, you hold them till in season and hope that they gain some value, right? Because I'm assuming you've already plastered your league. You've already spammed your league and said, let me get any third, any fourth for these guys. And everyone's laughing at you and making fun of you. And then the ones that are too expensive, guess what? I'm probably going to wait till in season and see if, people want to win a title. If people want to try to make the playoffs. Lots of things feel too expensive right now when you can't actually use them. You know what I mean? It's like right now trading Jamar Chase is awesome. It's like buying a car that you can't drive for 7 months now. It's like, oh, I got this really nice car and 7 months I'm going to be able to get to use it. Well, it's a lot different knowing that you can drive it next week as opposed to 7 months from now.
Just be careful with what those bench players that he's talking about are. Are they truly players that have no value? Like can't even get a 3rd round pick for them? Or are they just players where you're not selling them at the right time? So it feels like nobody wants to buy them. There's a difference. Just make sure if you're going to commit to moving your team in one direction or the other, make sure you're selling those types of assets at the right time. Don't go, I have Tyler Lockett on my bench. No one wants him. That's because right now is not the time for anybody to want him. I'll take him for free, but I'm not paying you anything for him. So that you can't really expect people to buy those types. So it really just depends on what that middle ground is. Is it players that people just don't want because they're terrible, like David Bell, or players like Tyler Lockett people just don't want now?
Cam, thank you for the super chat. 1 QB, 10 teams, start 9. Building anew with Hurts, T, Garrett Wilson, 101, 102, 106, 201. Am I ready for Bijan? And take JSN over Gibbs at 102? Thanks.
Yes, because it's a 10-team start 9. Take the absolute hammer player when they're available for a single pick.
Yeah, definitely do that. Gibbs over, what do we say? JSN over Gibbs. I mean, I don't want to commit to a wide receiver until I see where they're actually drafted, because right now it looks like Quentin Johnson's going to be the first wide receiver drafted per every mock this week. That can change, obviously, repeatedly between now and then. Same with Gibbs. Like, say Gibbs ends up with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know. He ends up with Kansas City. I don't know if I want to be passing on. That's someone that's got a really, really good. This isn't a CH situation either. This is someone with an actually good profile that we've seen is actually good at football and not just carried along by a great offense. It might be hard to pass on Gibbs at that point.
Okay, let me move this one. Sorry, I'm trying to create banners for that missed super chat one. It's almost like it is really long. It's almost like I share my screen with an email open or something. Okay, let's move on to this one, and this will buy me some time to get it together. Steven, there's that avatar again. Did we just like miss it or something, or did he send us another one? Whatever it is. Thank you for the super chat.
We've already looked at it.
We already looked at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And it was Star Wars.
And it was
Can't
Star
forget
Wars.
that avatar.
Star
Cannot
Wars.
forget it.
Yeah. Okay, Manuel. This is 1 of 2, 1 QB, 10 team, half PPR, start 8, roster 19. Rebuilds with the 103, 104, 105, 201, 203. Quarterbacks are Fields, Their quarterback is Fields. Running back, ETN, Khalil Herbert, Michael Carter. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Pittman, Judy, Burks, Stubbs. Tight end, Dulcich, Fant, and Cade Otton. 2 of 2 is, would you move ETN for a threshold wide receiver and top tight end, or would you move the 105 to buy studs?
So 10 teams start 9. So remember, shallow, very, very shallow. Only elite players matter. So I'm less likely to be moving players for packages. Doesn't really matter what they are, unless both the players I'm getting are clear starters. But I don't know why somebody would pay that for ETN. So I'm fine moving ETN for a receiver, but not a threshold receiver. To me here, a threshold receiver, what you're talking about is a top 12 receiver. Not another Jerry Jeudy, not another Michael Pittman. Can I get Drake London? Can I get Drake London and swap a pick somewhere? Something like that would be acceptable, I think, but not just a pivot to pivot. I get where I think he's probably thinking that I don't want to hold a running back if I'm not contending, but I do think there's some value principles you have to put in place here because it is a 10-team start 9. I mean, shit, you hit on a couple of those picks and all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe you have 3 or 4 studs now and you're in contention a little bit. So I'm not just going to hand that trade to somebody else because you're probably handing somebody else a stud.
Keep talking, Shane. I'm still working on getting this banner together.
Oh, it's a long banner. Rebuild. No, I mean, obviously, like Scott said, I'm good with moving ETN. If we're just going to have a trash running back room, let's embrace it. In this particular case and see if we can get a strong wide receiver. I don't want a threshold wide receiver. I zoned out when Scott was talking, so I don't know if he named anyone, but I definitely don't want like some rando bottom end wide receiver too. Like you already have, I like Pittman. You already have Judy. I like those guys, but those are guys. Those aren't difference makers. You know what I mean? So unless I can trade ETN for AJ Brown, or if I can trade ETN and Dobbs for AJ Brown, CD Lamb, I'd do that. I wouldn't mind doing that at all. And then like Scott said, you got a bunch of picks like 103, 104, 105. You make those 3 picks in a row or, trade for best valuable player. If it is a hammer, maybe you do trade ETN and Dobbs for AJ Brown. And maybe someone wants to trade you CD Lamb for the 103 and the 105. Well, then we're talking. So you got a lot of different options here that you could go with.
Okay, so I got this one together. I need a ton of help taking over a team that finished in last place, 12-team Dynasty Superflex start 10, 23-man roster, half PPR, 1 QB. So 12-team Superflex start 10. My roster's horrible, but I have a ton of picks. Quarterbacks, Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, Jacoby Brissett. Running backs, Pollard, B-Rob. Wide receivers, Jacoby Myers, Dotson, Claypool. And then he listed off a bunch of other winners. After that, I just decided to cut it off at Claypool. Tight end, Dawson Knox, Dulcich, and Jake Ferguson. I have the 101, 104, 108, and it looks like he has 205, 209, 211, and some thirds and fourths. And he also has 324 firsts. So he needs a ton of help, wondering what to do in this case. So this is his roster again, and he's got the 101, 104, 108 as the main ones.
Don't forget that 501. That's a key pick.
Don't forget the 501.
Part of me wants to say this can almost be like the team that represents Dynasty Trades in 5. If he can win a title with a Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones tandem and just kick all those picks and build for the future and just still maintain with these quarterbacks. But yeah, this is a bad team. This is a team that definitely needs to move Tony Pollard and probably Brian Robinson. Honestly, you probably want to move all 3 of those receivers, at least Claypool and Myers, for what you can. Definitely. I mean, you almost liquidate this entire team.
Yeah.
And I actually want to draft a lot of players in this class because every time I hit on a running back in this year's draft, I'm flipping that running back immediately. Like this is the team where you want to end up next year with, say you don't even make any trades. Maybe you make 1 trade and you can get something, a package for the 101. Like obviously work your picks, 101, 104, 108, trade down for multiple assets if you can, like split those where you can, but kind of feel like I want this team to go into next year with like 3 or 4 like core pieces and then a ton of picks in the next 2 years. Then you start actually picking players. This feels like, man, you need to just build up overall value. And those picks are good, but they're even more better. They're better when you can hit on like a mid-third running back and then sell it.
So he'd like to know, should he take Bijan or not? I am going to say not, based off the assets that you listed. Your quarterbacks are refuse. And then you listed Jahan Dotson, Chase Claypool, and who was the other homeless person?
Hey, do not hate on Jacoby Myers. That's his best skill player.
Sorry, Jacoby Myers, who's a fine back end wide receiver too on his best day. But no, you're not ready for Bijan. This is it's not a team I'd like to add Bijan to.
And
But-
join a new league too. While you're doing all this blowing up of this current league, join a new league too.
And he said it was an orphan, right?
He said it was an orphan. He's picking it up.
But-
So
And how many orphans did you see that orphaned the 101? That's because I think the guy realized, man, I
Easily,
over
yeah.
orphaned that 101. Now I have the 101 and I have nothing
Yeah,
else.
but you know what? Look, you're in a position where worst comes to worst, no one will trade with you. Yes, you take Bijan. I won't feel great about it, and then you just try like hell as soon as he has a little Brees Hall mini run for 4 weeks and go, hey guys, remember this is what he can do when he's dropping 25 points a week on people, and they're like, oh yeah. I should have traded for him earlier. And you're like, yep.
okay, let's put this up here. Diane Manila, Shane's mom. Hi Diane, thank you for joining tonight. Appreciate that. Don't listen back if you missed that one part. Okay, Brian says you win, Shane's mom. Got to catch him on replay tomorrow. He's got dad stuff to do. Nice work, dudes. Thank you, Dad 30. Okay, let's keep going to TK. This is a 3-parter. 12-team Superflex PPR start 9. Recently acquired Lance cheap. Him and a 24 second for 24 first in Corral. However, I now have a QB room with Lamar, T-Law, Watson, Lance, Purdy. How many QBs to roster, and is hoarding effective if the rest of the roster is in good shape? It wasn't my 3 of 2. It wasn't my only 24 first, and I know QBs are so coveted. Felt like I had to do it. So, how many QBs should you roster, and is hoarding effective if the rest of the roster is in good shape? These are his QBs: Lamar, T-Law, Watson, Lance, and Purdy.
It's only start 9. I mean, hoarding's gonna kind of work against you because you're gonna run out of roster spaces where you want to put actual players that you can use. And I know there's go ahead, Scott.
No, I was to say hoarding in the range of I'm hoarding Ryan Tannehill, I'm hoarding those types. Like that's where you start doing it at the detriment of your other roster spots, like Shane was saying. I'm almost looking at this and
that's collecting trash.
Right, but the point is you can't really get any benefit of hoarding unless you're going to hoard in the range where other people still desire the asset and are trying to get it from you and are probably looking at your team going, dude, you don't need Watson, you don't need T-Law, you don't need Lamar. And the answer is, yeah, I don't need them, but I'm also looking for a very, very specific deal to trade them, and you're going to meet the format of the deal that I want.
Yeah.
I need a first and Chris Olave. At least, like, that's the starting point. I need like a 24 first and one of them. And that's the deal where you don't want to make, but you do because you have 3 quarterbacks. You can make one of those. You just ride Brock Purdy and Trey Lance as your QB3. Just see how that plays out. But no, he's got the league by the balls. Don't let go until they're crying.
Crazy for Zyforco. What is that supposed to be? Crazy for what?
Crazy town. Crazy for company. Crazy T4 Co.
You sounded so confident. Crazy town. Okay. 1 of 2. 10-team start 10, Superflex, half PPR. It's a 0.25 additional tight end premium. Have Herbert, Fields, Goff, Pickett, Brees, Jacobs, London, Pickens, Deontay, Andrews, 103, 109, 203, 303, and a extra 24 second. Offer is Herbert for the 101, 110, and Jerome Ford. How much more should I be asking for? So it's a 10-team Superflex start 10.
No, you should be asking for.
It's
No.
2 first shy.
Yeah, no, you should not be doing this.
It's a CD Lamb, AJ Brown, Kyle Pitts plus the 101.
Go back. This is a super flex, right?
Yep.
Not
Yes.
high or anything. Yeah,
It's a
no,
10 team, but
I don't.
yeah, I'm not moving Herbert of that group.
No. Nope. Taco Tuesday. That's what
Taco Tuesday. Yeah, don't trade. Like if you have Herbert and Fields, like it has to be ridiculous to get rid of.
Try to get
Or just
Bijan another
don't do it.
way. Try to
Yeah.
get Bijan another way. It sounds like you're trying to
you
get the
can.
101. Yeah, exactly.
103, 109, 203. You can get up to Bijan with what you have.
Don't give up Herbert. This feels like you started down a path that you can't get off of. You need to get off this path. Like go step in a meeting or something and just like forget about this ever making this deal.
Alyssa just made a trade in a 12-team start 8 1 QB, traded ETN for the 105, 203, and Ingram. Have no tight ends and have Pollard, Hall, and CMC. Was that wrong to trade? Was it good value? Love the show and thanks as always.
Yeah, start 8. I'd hold on to ETN here. I know that he's just a grinder, but there is the chance that he could see some targets again too and turn into a full-fledged like bell cow back. So I wouldn't have liked trading him for this. Not in the start 8.
The only thing that might rescue him here is he is within that 105, or she's in that 105 range of what we talked about at the beginning. Like you're probably still going to get one of the high-end receivers.
Mm-hmm.
At the 105. So I'm guessing she probably wanted to move ETN for a receiver and nobody was biting on, trading away one of the receivers that they like. So you're just going to have to try to get it through the draft. So I don't hate it, but yeah, generally in a start 8, you don't want to be the one getting the 3 pieces for the one elite player or very good player.
Okay. Alex, Alex rebuild. Okay. 10-team, thank you for the super chat. 10-team super flex, start 9, have the 102, 107, 110, 423 seconds, 323 first. I think it means 324 first. Want an elite receiver after QB at 102. What do I give to move up?
Oh, easy. You don't give the move up. See if you can get an elite wide receiver for the 107 and the 110, and sure, throw in a couple for 23 seconds.
Yeah, it's a 10-team start 9. So start at the 107, add whatever you can, even if that's a 24 first, to go get a single receiver. I'm fine with that. Don't even try to draft one. I would try to explore all the trade options first.
All right, I'm gonna grab this one here. 10 teams, super flex QBs are Jalen Hurts and Rondell White. Trade Hurts and AJ Brown for Trevor Lawrence and Jamar Chase.
Dude, did you say Rondell White, the old baseball player from the 90s?
Yes, but I'm guessing it's Russell Wilson. So he has Jalen Hurts and Russell Wilson. Should he trade Hurts and AJ Brown for T-Law and Chase?
You know what? No. In a 10-team, assuming the scoring isn't so favorable that Lawrence is going to compete with Jalen Hurts, I'm fine with keeping the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown stack. But the other side could be like, okay,
I want Rondell White. I want Rondell White in that trade.
This is one of those like, all right, I'm moving down from Hurts, who is the QB 1A, B, C, to Trevor Lawrence, who's probably in that tier below that, right? And I am moving up from Hurts to Chase, from AJ Brown to Chase, but it feels like a lateral move. Like it's going to be one of those moves where it's like, hey, I got 60 points out of these two this week when I would have gotten 60 points out of the other two.
And I will say that the likely delta between Jamar Chase and AJ Brown is lower than what it's probably between Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts.
All right, and he's saying it's Herbert and Russ.
Yeah, give me Hurts and AJ Brown.
Yeah.
John Michael, thank you for the super chat. Been loving the roster construction series. In 1 QB half PPR start 9, how does this change your roster construction approach? Number of elite RBs, wide receivers?
Without knowing all the specifics, it's hard to really contextualize, but I will say elite running backs are much more important in a 1 QB start 9 half PPR, to the point where they are the dominant flex. You want to have an overabundance of them, not only high-end ones, but as many bodies as you can find on the bench. I'd almost be looking at the receivers of like, I don't want to go slim at receiver, but I'd rather have all my equity in high-end running backs more so than I would the receivers, up to the point where I have enough receivers to get by in my flexes. So hopefully that makes sense, but this is a format that's going to favor running backs even more so than receivers in the flexes. So you're going to change your construction quite a bit.
Yeah, and if need be, if you have an abundance of running backs, that's where you can address your wide receiver by, I guess, tearing down from one of them to get a wide receiver. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing this is the type of format too, where when you get into shallower leagues, people gravitate. I mean, how many times, Shane, have we seen on league biases on the roster review? Shallow leagues, what is one of the biases? Overvalue running back. And it's because you can't afford to fade because there's not as many starters to spread the points around. So the league is going, man, the teams that are winning have Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, and they're consistently winning. Some of our leagues with 13 starters, you're not just winning if you have Christian McCaffrey. So I think that's the big difference. You got to value running backs different than we do on the show for the most part.
Blake, thank you for the super chat. Won the ship in my contract league. Congratulations. 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, 6 IDP. Is it worth taking Mixon under contract for 3 years and my 112 and trying to move up?
Yes, I would be okay with this because of Mixon's contract. I don't know what you're trying to move up to, though.
I mean, it's start 8, so
Brees, you're not going to be able to get up to that. But
I mean,
in these contract leagues, you're trying to get it's valuable to get a rookie, right?
Yeah, if I got to move Mixon in the contract in the 112 and I can get up to the 109, I'm happy with this because Mixon's contract is an albatross. I don't know how his real life contract when he gets cut in 3 weeks will be affected in this league, but I'm assuming you signed him to a separate contract. It's probably not an RSO league. So yeah, I would do that.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going here. Thank you for the super. Let's go to, sorry. Go ahead. Put that up, Shane.
Just wanted to know 2023 hype will start once running back combine numbers pro days are more accurate. Yep. 100% what Vatican said here.
Okay. Fizzle Dallas, start 11, 10 team. Wide receiver, he has Cup, Lamb, Hill, London, Devonta Smith, DJM, Ridley. Looking to take wide receiver at 104, but want to move on from Moore and get a first to take a rookie. What's Moore's value? So in a 10-team start 11, let's say it's a super flex 10-team start 11, are you going to give the 109 for DJ Moore?
It's pretty square. I think if he's asking for a pick in that range, I mean, it sounds like for me, I'm going to go, don't trade DJ Moore because he's still the bang for your buck, I think, is more valuable on your team. But it sounds like he wants to, and obviously his roster warrants that he can afford to. So I think I would just go to the teams that have every pick from 106 to 110, see if they'll take DJ Moore. You'll know pretty quickly. And don't buy it. Don't care which one you get. If it's the 110 that accepts it, okay, you accomplished what you wanted.
What is throwing a third and trying to get a second back? I don't even care if it's like the 301 and the 208.
Yeah. What's DJ Moore's value in a 1 QB? Like 105, 6-ish? 106?
No, I think it's probably more like 108, 107, 108. I don't think anyone's given the rights to take JSN, Jordan Addison, one of those guys for DJ Moore. There's not really a point to trade one of those picks for him. But I think when you get outside of that range and it's 108, I think that's where you can probably buy him and feel okay about what asset you're buying or what profile you're buying.
Yeah, he's still only 26. He's a buy if you're not fatigued or if you're not overexposed to him. Somehow I only have him in 3 leagues now, so I guess I'll be buying some DJ Moore.
Yeah, if I ever get to where I have 0 shares of DJ Moore, I'm going to be clamoring, staying up all night trying to get one back. I will never quit DJ Moore for better or worse. Part 1 of 2, Dan, thank you for the super chat. What should I offer for 101? Should I stay put? Have the 102, but don't want to trade it so I can get both Gibbs and Bijan. It's a 10-team, start 9, single QB, PPR, has Burrow, Jonathan Taylor, Kamara, James Cook, Devontae, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Ingram. And here's an inbox offer. Is there a third part? No, this is 2 of 2. JT and AJB or Wilson or Olave. And then that's it.
That's cryptic.
Yeah, that's a little cryptic here. Dan, help us out.
I'm guessing the inbox offer is they want his JT and one of those 3 receivers for 101, and I'm not taking that.
Oh, good Lord, no. Oh, gosh.
Sounds like he's being offered 101 for JT, and you have to give also Wilson, Olave, or AJ Brown. So yeah, no thanks. Sounds like the guy with 101 has a little bit of a higher price tag than you're willing to pay.
I mean, I get it. I have leagues where I have the 101, and I'm a complete asshole, and I'm just trying to get everything I can out of anyone. But even I haven't sent an offer like that to somebody. I am now, but yeah, no, don't do that.
That's when you should ask that league mate too. Like, okay, well, what players on my team do you like, and see if there's anyone who is really willing to overpay for. I mean, obviously Olave, Wilson, AJB, but you know what I mean. Kind of turn it back on him. Like, okay, if your 101 is that expensive, like give me 2 firsts for Garrett Wilson or whatever.
He likes his 4 best players. That's what he likes.
Yeah. Oh no. Turn it right back to him. Be like, all right, give me your entire roster for for Garrett Wilson. Okay. Let's move that on here. Jason, thank you for the super chat. Thanks to Scott for starting 2 elite QB startup movement strategy and answering my question on Twitter. Shane, don't say squirt.
Is that supposed to be squat?
No, it's squirt.
Squirt. People love the squirt emoji and what was the other? The eggplant.
Yeah, I don't know. I just hope my mom's not watching anymore.
Yeah. She's gone. Good. And you're gone from her will and whatnot.
Awesome.
Yeah. We love you, Diane. Thank you for giving birth to this guy. Okay, let's move that one. Paul, thank you for the super sticker, sir. 12 teams, super flex, start 10. Give the 111 a mid 24 first. Get Garrett Wilson.
Okay with it.
Yeah, I like Garrett Wilson a lot. I mean, it's a lot. You're paying premium for him. Like, I don't want you to think like I'm being flippant about this. You're giving up 2 firsts for him, even if one's late. But I like Garrett Wilson a lot.
I kind of like it because you're getting credit for that 111 for basically like kind of the peak of what it could be. So I like the deal. I'm okay with it. Start 10. Yeah, good deal.
Okay, let's go to Connor here. 12 team superflex start 11, 6 point per passing touchdown. In 3rd round of startup draft, took Herbert, T-Law, and rookie 103. Stick and pick or trade, and what for? Next startup pick is round 7.
Listen, Connor, you spell your first name amazingly, so congrats on that. The second thing is this is like a dream start, and you still have a 3rd round startup pick. This is the classic time where you're trying to trade that back and pick up another extra first. Can you trade this for a 6th and a 24 first? Because those guys you're going to pick in the 6th and 7th, you're going to compare to some of the players going off in the 3rd and 4th, and you're going to go, honestly, those guys in the 6th or 7th, I could squint and see where they end up actually better.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the time you've already got. I mean, you could not ask for a better start than these 3, right? Herbert, T-Law, and the 103, and somehow still has these startup picks. Yeah. I'm moving that 103 back, or that 3rd round startup pick back, and trying to get a 2 for 1.
Let's trade.
Andrew, we have this here, your super chat, and there was no question.
Also, the pound isn't a real monetary system, so I don't know why you're giving us pounds.
Yeah. And Shane went looking for it and couldn't find it. So if
maybe
if
it was in British and I couldn't understand it.
Send me an email, dynastytradesand5@gmail.com with your question. We'll address it. Thank you for that. Let's go to, okay, we did Paul's. We're almost done here. Danny just wants to know if Shane, will you adopt him?
Yes, but hopefully you can cook. Otherwise, well, there's going to be a lot of processed and microwave dinners in your future.
Let's see. Heavy Kevy. I remember when me and like 10 dudes were watching. This is wild. Well deserved. Clay doesn't get enough credit. Hey, we've got some OGs. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, we do have. I had someone email me. I haven't responded to him yet today, but he was like, "I was watching when you guys were still 5-minute shows."
I remember those days.
Yeah, but let's end with one last good question here. That last one. Sorry, I was looking at your message here, Scott. Fellas, what is the perfect Dynasty League format in each of your opinions?
Well, I highlighted this one from Kyle. I think this is a great future show topic that we can expand. We have done some videos in the past talking about like what do we like to spice leagues up, make them more fun. What type of formats do we enjoy? We did talk about that last week as well with the different types of formats, but we could do almost like its own standalone segment talking about like some of the nuances that we have in some of our leagues that have made it interesting. Some of the things that you probably have to dig through the bylaws to find that aren't like common that you would see, but you can kind of I think the coolest thing about starting a new league, there isn't a perfect format. I think you've heard us talk enough about the type of formats we like and the ones that we don't play in and et cetera. But ultimately, this game is about trying to solve for an equation where there's variables, whatever the settings are, the scoring, the roster construction, all of that. You're trying to solve for it all. So I think it's just making it challenging. And the last thing I'll say is correlating some of the settings with the rules, with the rosters. Like, we've all been in those leagues where it just doesn't, it feels like things are just off, not enough starters, too many players, weird bylaws, like everything kind of cohesively goes together to make a fun league. And that includes the scoring, the settings, the rosters, the bylaws, everything.
I will say this, I do like some leagues that just throw absolutely everything at you in the scoring and make you figure everything out. They're like, all right, well, it's not just PPC. It's not just PPR. It's also points per target. And guess what? Those targets are tiered by position.
Tiered targets?
Yeah, points per first down. Now, not a lot of these leagues, right? Because I don't want to have to sit down on a spreadsheet and, I don't want to have to send the bylaws to Scott and be like, can you figure this out for me? But just one or two of those leagues where you're just throwing everything in there. Not like the whole we're also going to do contracts and third year void contracts and not that crazy stuff, but just in the scoring wise. Like if I can get some like fun scoring in there that's not distance scoring, you get extra point for 50-yard touchdowns. If it's not that, but it's inclusive scoring, I like it.
Yeah, and like Scott said, we'll do another future show like dedicated to it. But what I always say is just make sure the bones are right. You so you don't have to switch from one QB to super flex. Like get your starting amount, start 11, 12 team super flex, whatever it is. Get the bones of it correct, because then you can make smaller adjustments more easily thereafter. But start off with the right foundation, guys.
Sounds like a song, Clay.
Does it?
It's probably a country song.
It's a country song. Come on, Maren Morris. And the bones are good. Yeah.
Girl,
we are done. Tyler says this is class A content. Love what you guys do for the people. Hey, we love the people. It's a lot of fun doing this. 440 plus the entire night for the most part on a Tuesday. We love you guys. Yeah, thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for all the questions. Again, sorry we can't get to them. We get hundreds. We'd love to hit them all. It's just not feasible. So we just keep doing more of these, right? Shane, Scott, you want to say anything?
No, I think our Tuesday night live stream came back strong. We took a Tuesday off last week to save Clay's marriage. Went Thursday. It just didn't kick the same. It was good, but it just wasn't a Tuesday. And yes, he still has the ring. So good show. This is a fun time in Dynasty.
Felt very different. I don't know how Clay's going to feel about us saving his marriage come 5 years. Things change in life and you regret some things that seemed like a good decision at the time. But shout out to Clay's wife. I appreciate everyone.
I'm a lucky man. I'm a lucky man.
Appreciate everybody coming in with us.
Yep, for sure.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Be on the lookout for 105 show on Thursday or Friday. Probably Friday. Probably Thursday. Let's see.
Enjoy, everyone. Thanks.
Yeah.